Problem card is represented by the small ducky. Perhaps this is a sign that you have made yourself smaller to accommodate others. The immediate solution is interesting, and follow me on this one. You would think the Count is pointing this out because the Count likes numbers. But what the Count likes is to count things. He is saying, I would like 9 things to count. I interpret this to mean that one should ask for the things that they want with clear communication, using visual aids if necessary. The long-term solution is represented by Bert and Ernie getting some rectangles out of the rectangles box. Turns out that if friends work together, they may find that their needs are not so dissimilar, and we can all help each other get the rectangles that we need. The Sesamerot has spoken. Now this is a fascinating draw. As I've noted in the past, the octagon is the most complex of the shapes in the Sesamerot. In your reading, the shape appears twice. But here's what's interesting. The problem card is represented by Tully, who is a pink creature, I might add, holding up an octagon that says stop. And yet your long-term solution is simply a pink octagon, with the short-term solution being represented by the 9 of butterflies. I interpret it like this. Though we may fly away from the safety and security of our past, we do not necessarily escape the complexities of our problems. That said, we do appear to have a greater opportunity to focus on them. And in this case, there is nothing to stop you anymore. The Sesamerot has spoken. Problem card is represented by the orange hexagon. Hexagons are a symbol of life and harmony, and orange is the color of yellow transitioning into red, or from caution to danger. The short-term solution is the 7 of porridges. I would interpret this as a reminder that make sure that you are taking in the nourishment you need to sustain what it is you are putting out. The long-term solution card is High Super Grover. There are only 2 times that Super Grover flies, before he solves a problem and after he solves a problem. Putting these together, my interpretation is thus. You have the power to do it all, but you need the resources to have the power. And of course, 7 is more than 6. It's basic math, really. The Sesamerot has spoken. No way! I guess the Sesamerot has spoken. All right, hold up. I'll finish this up. Okay. Okay, so the problem card is the cookie card. All right, we're going to let the significance of that one speak to its own. I just spent the past 10 minutes straight just laughing. The short-term solution is represented by the dish card. Doggo don't care. Doggo enjoys the food. Thing is, Doggo's going to eat until the bowl is clean, am I right? This may be the significance of the long-term solution card, which is a square, but you'll notice there are also gifts. In the short term, we should not feel any shame for wanting a delicious treat. But let us not also forget that giving them as gifts is an option. Oh my goodness, if this reading was any more than nose, I would have cut my nose clean off. The Sesamerot has spoken. I feel in this case that both the problem and long-term solution positions are representative of your ex, specifically present and future. We'll circle back to that after I interpret the short-term solution card. Your short-term position is occupied by the High Super Grover. As we know, Super Grover only touches the ground when there's a problem that he needs to solve. I believe this is a sign that you should fly free and contemplate your power, while regarding that the person you return to may not be the same person you left. For as you are flying free in self-exploration, so too is your ex. Be prepared to meet a whole new person if and when the time should come. It would be unwise to base your expectations on this version. But remember, Super Grover is only a short-term solution. So when you do land, do not approach her as if she is a problem to be solved. The Sesamerot has spoken. The problem card is represented by the 4 of beanies. If you was in Mr. Hooper's store and 4 folks walked in wearing beanies, you would assume they're together. So, a sign of solidarity. Short-term solution is represented by Snuffleupagus wearing socks. Snuffy is covered in fur and does not wear shoes. He is, however, appearing on a children's flashcard demonstrating what socks are. He's doing a job that needs to be done, even though he doesn't necessarily have to. That is admirable. However, I think your long-term solution card is a sign of caution, and let me explain. It's Grover playing the piano. Grover is not known for playing the piano. Furthermore, as Grover plays, he's not looking at the sheet music, he's looking at the crowd, which raises questions about who he is truly performing for. I take this as a sign that you should meditate on your motivations, because it really is a song that deserves to be heard. Your solidarity is well placed, and they can always use an extra set of feet. The Sesamerot has spoken. The problem card is represented by the Two of Boats. Perhaps a reminder that this is not about one journey, but two journeys. I feel like the short and long-term solution cards play in tandem with each other. By itself, the triangle is a symbol of thought, stability, and introspection, while the octagon represents complexity and idealism. There is something to be said for the transition from odd to even number of angles, but I believe instead that this is a metaphor for personal growth. Confront your blue feelings with wisdom. Look to them with your mind's eye, without fear. Allow yourself to evolve into a state where you can see love and passion from many angles. Recognize this as an opportunity for evolution and personal growth. Also, while 2 plus 3 is 5, 8 is greater than 5. A sign that the rewards will be worth so much more than the struggle. The Sesamerot has spoken. Problem card is represented by the X-ray, which I feel is a pretty clear sign that you're trying to give somebody a look inside you. I feel like the short and long-term slots are showing us more of a cause and effect sort of thing. When somebody reads a newspaper, they come away from it with their own interpretations and decisions about what it is they just read. Generally speaking, the gray pentagon is a symbol of uncertainty. Now, it would be easy to say, outlook unclear, come back later, but this is Sesamerot, not Magic 8-Ball. Many times the long-term solution slot is also giving us something to meditate on. And I feel the meditation is thus: what do we expect them to do with this information? Now, the Pentagon is also a symbol of control and authority, so this could also be a sign that you still have control over your own narrative. Ponder what could be gained and lost from this, and make your decision accordingly. The Sesamerot has spoken. I feel like the problem and short-term slots share a relationship. It has been known since the time of antiquities that 1 is the loneliest number. And was it not the great philosopher, my mom, that said you cannot play with your teddy bear outside? So we look outside. We see it's a nice sunny day. We'd love to be out there. So going outside requires 2 things. First, the abandonment of that which brought us comfort indoors. And second, we must dress accordingly. But why is the hat the long-term solution? Well, Ernie's looking outside, but he sees it's a bright sunny day. But more specifically, he's looking right at the sun. He's looking at where he wants to be sure, but he's paying attention to both the good and the bad. And has prioritized protection and comfort, so that first step outside can be taken with confidence. Study, plan, prepare, and enjoy a breath of fresh air. The Sesamerot has spoken. Well, I have good news and bad news. The bad news is your problem card is the 8 of Bats. The good news is bats have had their spooky reputation thrust upon them, which is a lesson that sometimes we're the ones bringing the spooky to the situation. Which brings us to the Kite card. The Kite card invites us to be playful with the elemental forces surrounding us. The kite is also a rhombus filled with triangles, an invitation to approach the situation with empathy, which leads nicely into the long-term solution card, the quilt. To make a quilt, you take broken, ripped, torn, discarded, damaged things and sew them together into something beautiful. For with compassion, even the unalive may heal. And in the act, you may even find inspiration. But just in case, put the Ghostbusters on speed dial. Better safe than sorry. The Sesamerot has spoken. The problem card is a yellow rectangle. Perhaps a sign that you're feeling cautious, for you are not square enough. The good news is I believe the Sesamerot has a plan of action for you. Your short-term solution is the Dry card. Drying is what we do after we have been cleansed. However, let us not forget that it is healthy to bathe regularly. So the Dry card will always be a short-term solution for you, because cleansing is a journey, not a destination. And one thing people do on journeys is they keep a journal, which is a kind of book. And that brings us to your long-term solution. In your journey, you will gather knowledge and experience, a first-hand account of many cleansing cycles. And it is in fact the tales of your journeys which will inspire others on theirs. Be the change. Share your story. You've got this. The Sesamerot has spoken. problem space is occupied by the orange rhombus. Now, this could be a sign of cautious insight, but I feel in this case there may also be a degree of critical assessment of value. It may be that you're wondering if the thing that you want to do is also the thing that's going to get you the best bang for your buck. Let's look to the short-term spot, Zoe in a box. I believe this is a sign that no matter what path you take, be prepared to commit to it. I'm talking full bore, all the way, even if Elmo says Rocco isn't alive. The long-term solution is the 13 of, seriously, what is it? It's either a balloon with a tuchus or one half of the macaroon reproduction process. The 13 of macroloons. An ancient, powerful symbol of... Look, this is your future. When you look to these paths, do you see the birth of something fun and delicious, or a sky full of butts? The Sesamerot has spoken. The problem card is represented by Tully, holding a stop sign. Tully is dressed as a crossing guard. When he holds up his sign, it is there for your safety. So it is in your best interest not to ignore them. Short-term solution is represented by the blue triangle. This is a symbol of cold thought or logic. Perhaps a sign that you should start your diagnosis by checking your senses. Swapping out filters and injectors is not going to do you a lick of good if your senses are cattywampus. Long-term solution is the X-ray. A sign to seek diagnosis from professionals. Because let's face it, a Freightliner should not be giving you this level of guff within the first year of its operation. So yeah, check the sensors, do a little groundwork on your end. This, if nothing else, will help make sure that your maintenance professional is not trying to take you for a ride. The Sesamerot has spoken. Your problem card is the pink octagon. Now this could be an indication that your feelings on the topic are deep and complex. But I feel this may instead be representative of your sentimentality. You have a deep connection to the things that made you who you are. It's natural to have trepidation in leaving that behind. The short-term solution is the amazing Mumford holding an alligator. Now pardon me for flaunting my zoological knowledge, but alligators are not rabbits. So in the short term, many unexpected things will happen, and they may even seem scary. But if you look closer, the alligator is smiling, does not have claws, and Mumford is holding the alligator without incident. I believe this is a sign to confront your fears with open eyes and an open mind. In the long-term solution slot, we got Big Bird wearing a tie. Perhaps he's getting dressed up because he's going someplace nicer than he's used to. Perhaps this is a sign to prepare yourself for opportunities. The Sesamerot has spoken. Problem card is represented by a yo-yo, a fun and simple toy on its own. But if you want to go full ham on it, you can do some pretty sweet tricks. Short-term solution is represented by Ernie holding eggs. There's lots of different ways to make eggs. Personally, I don't like scrambled, but some people do. Perhaps a reminder that not every food is for every person, and the same foods can be prepared in different ways to accommodate different tastes. Long-term solution is the socks card. Snuffleupagus is covered in fur and does not need shoes, meaning that the wearing of socks is not really a prerequisite, but he seems to like them. I don't think there's a single thing wrong with that. I think perhaps there's a lesson here. We are not necessarily the target audience for every single thing that we observe. With that said, if we did not occasionally break norms and expectations from time to time, we would not have new experiences and therefore would not grow. So we should really all... The answer is yes, the Sesamerot has spoken. Now, I'm going to be honest, this is a real interesting draw. I believe what the Sesamerot is showing me right now is not short and long term, but before and after. The problem card implies that you are already out of the box on this one. And the box is featureless, empty, and bland. But it could be premature to assume that the box even represents acting. I think instead, it represents whatever it is you are not passionate about. Whatever the case may be, here's your long-term solution. You need to find the box that does have your passion in it, and get inside it, even if it's the smaller box. And if you're in the box that is truly right for you, you don't need to get anywhere. You already are where you need to be. So instead of moving on, try moving towards. They say there are no small roles, only small actors. I say I would rather have a little passion than a whole lot of nothing. The Sesamerot has spoken. Okay. We're getting there. Dang it! Yeah, there we go. The problem card is the ducky at the top of the... Oh, no, I don't want to share. Stop. Go away. It's a ducky at the top of the ladder. I believe the symbolism of this legitimately drawn card is self-evident. The short-term solution card could go one of two ways. Either it's telling you to chill, or it's telling you to just enjoy it as a fan of Wordle. One fun way of enjoying things is to work them into the other things that you do on a daily basis. Perhaps you can think of an example in your own life, or maybe you have seen that recently. And the long-term solution is you're going to knock it out of the park. Or Big Bird could also be striking out. Outlook uncertain, come back later. The Sesamerot has spoken. Fascinating. When we look to the problem in short-term solution cards, all we see changing is really the complexity of the shape. I believe this is a sign that you are who you already need to be, and doing the thing that is in your natural nature, but that an adjustment of understanding is required. Do not fear the tribulations in your future. They are not weapons, they are hammers, and you are upon the forge. And even as your understanding is hammered into the shape it needs to be, you will still be you, just a better fit for the role. Now the long-term solution is the 8 of bats. Bats seek out the things that they need to thrive using echolocation. They send out their voice and they follow the feedback. I believe this is a sign that your life depends on you literally throwing your sound out there, and most importantly, listening for the feedback. The Sesamerot has spoken. The problem card is Big Bird holding a bat, and I believe the lesson here is that context is everything. Some people see a bat and think sports equipment, others look at it and see a weapon. And only Big Bird truly knows if he's trying to win a baseball game or collect money for the mafia. Short-term solution card is Oscar holding a sandwich. Now Oscar may very well be offering that sandwich to someone because they're hungry and he knows they need it. But given Oscar's established reputation, it would not be unreasonable for anybody receiving the sandwich to question where Oscar made it. I believe this is a sign that even if your intentions are pure, be prepared to explain your process, and have the empathy to understand that their scrutiny is not necessarily misplaced. The long-term solution is Big Bird wearing a tie. I believe this is a sign that for this to work, it must be a formal process. Don't do this in a text message. Prepare, come to the table, give everybody a chance to speak. The Sesamerot has spoken. The problem card is the 12 of doodlebugs, and the short term is the 10 of fruits. I feel this is a case of showing us a before and after scenario. You see, the doodlebugs are arranged in a way where their differences create a sense of harmony. Whereas on the 10 card, while every fruit is allowed to sort of shine on its own and you can see its individual merits, you wouldn't exactly combine them all into a fruit salad. I believe this is saying that while individual recognition may be sweet and delicious, it may disrupt the harmony of the group. Let's move to the long-term solution card. Elmo playing with a soccer ball. Elmo is playing a two-player game, and Elmo's gaze is focused on the hexagon, a sign of life and harmony. But a soccer ball also contains dark pentagons, which are a sign of ambiguous mystery. I believe the message is this: life is not without risks, and we should never fear going for the things that we want. For a calculated risk to occur, you must focus on the big picture. But in the end, the decision is yours. The Sesamerot has spoken. The problem position is occupied by the quilt card, which I believe represents an attempt to gather up the remnants of past destroyed blankets and try to make something beautiful out of them. Short-term solution cards represented by the purple oval. The oval is a shape of uneven cycles. The purple is a combination of red and blue. So what we see here is a cycle of chaos and uncertainty. So should you choose to take on this task, you should prepare yourself. The long-term solution card is represented by the two of boats. An acknowledgement, perhaps, that this is two different journeys that we're thinking about here. Now, the good news is these two ships are going in the same direction, but from the context, the destination is not clear. In recognition of this, it's a good idea to make sure you know where the destination is before you join the flotilla. The Sesamerot has spoken.